While the vast majority of scientists agree that climate change is an existential threat to human civilization doesn't seem to be doing much about it. In fact, according to new research, we're doing worse than before at reducing carbon emissions. So, yeah, NPR is reporting that collectively, the countries that have promised to reduce heat trapping emissions only did so by 3% by 2030 compared to 2020 levels. 3%. Do you know how much we need to reduce emissions? We're going to hit the targets. 45% by 2030. It's 2022. There's not much time left. You think we're going to go 43% in 8 years? Are you kidding? No, there's no way. Now, this is according to a new report from the United Nations Environment Program. Cutting emissions nearly in half by the end of the decade would put the world on track to limiting warming by 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit or 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2100. But at the current pace of emissions, the planet would heat up by about 5 degrees Fahrenheit, leading to more deadly heat waves and storms and the flooding of coastal cities due to polar ice melt. Now, of course, if you're a right winger, if you're somebody who's sitting in Congress and you're ancient, 2100, who cares? I'll be dead by then. I just think about, I'm not going to even think about my grandkids. I'll leave them a bunch of money. They'll figure it out. Well, there we go. 5 degrees. 5 degrees. Nobody is taking this seriously. Even after they had promised to take this seriously, which shows you how much their promise is actually worth. Dick. Nada. Not worth the damn thing. More details here. As of September, only 24 out of the 193 countries had submitted more ambitious climate goals than was agreed to at the Paris Climate Agreement. This is according to a recent report by another UN body, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Expectations are low. So low that countries will make new, bolder pledges at the upcoming climate meeting in Egypt. War in Ukraine and inflation are drawing government's focus. Climate talks have been frozen in recent months between the two largest emitters, the United States and China. At the 2015 Paris Climate Summit, world leaders agreed that limiting climate change to 1.5 degrees Celsius was a critical target. Extreme hurricanes, floods, and heat waves could displace billions of people around the globe, making their lives and livelihoods untenable where they reside now, according to the report. Still, the new report shows that the current climate pledges, known as nationally determined contributions, are substantially short of the goal of hitting 1.5 degrees Celsius. So what happened? I mean, during the pandemic, a lot of people, there was a dip in emissions. Pretty big dip in emissions. However, since then, since everybody got back to work and we forgot about coronavirus, even though it's still going on, over 1 million people are dead. Guess what? Emissions are back on the rise and are expected to keep rising through 2030 when we're supposed to be cutting it. Emissions from burning coal, for example, reached their highest levels in history, largely driven by China. China, yes, are they investing in renewable energy? Sure, but they're also building brand new coal plants. So they're not doing any favors here. India also not doing any favors for the world, as well as the United States. And by the way, it's not just investing towards renewable energy and getting away from coal and oil and natural gas. The report also found that the rate of deforestation needs to slow down by 2.5 times. Now, that's what makes the Brazil election so important, where you have Lula da Silva, right, who's the leftist candidate, going against Jair Bolsonaro. During Bolsonaro's reign, he decided to allow more deforestation in the Amazon rainforest, getting to a point where the so-called lungs of the world, there's going to be too much damage done to replace the amount of carbon that displaces and oxygen that is pumped into the atmosphere. So that's not good at all. Bolsonaro wins again. Well, there goes that. So we need to end the deforestation, slow it down by 2.5 times. And they also found, the report, that electric cars need to be adopted about 5 times faster than they are now by 2030. Tick tock, tick tock. Running out of time. Running out of time. Now, the thing about electric cars, and I think it's important to point this out, is that you have to have the energy that charges them come from renewable sources and not coal plants, or else you kind of undo the good that you're trying to do. If we don't make a massive investment, not just in the United States, but around the world, well, then we're screwed. In fact, Claire Fison of Climate Analytics says this about the report. Quote, we've never known more about the climate crisis. And we've never known more about what we need to do about it and how. This global report card about climate action makes clear that we're not moving fast enough. That is very, very clear. We are not moving fast enough. And unfortunately, with how corrupt these governments are and how addicted this world is to, fossil fuels, yeah, we're screwed. Doomed. That doesn't mean don't do anything. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't be pushing for renewable energy, pushing for ways to make, transportation that is less damaging to the environment, and not only the usage of it, but also the production of it. And that's also another problem, the manufacture of some of these things, batteries taking up lithium and the mining that destroys, the surrounding environments. But my God, we got to start doing something. We got to stop putting so much carbon into the air. Or else again, it's going to be bad tidings for us, for humanity in the future.